Thanks for joining us once again from Seton Hill University. We have joining us right now Lawrence C. Connoly and W.H. Horner. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, and I hope you're enjoying the conference.
Right, they're also they're both mentors in the regular MFA program here at Seton Hill, and they have a special relationship because W.H. Horner is the owner and founder of Fantasist Enterprises publishing company, and Lawrence C. Connoly is his star author.
So, what genre do you practice, Lawrence?
I've written all of the speculative genres. I've written horror, I've written fantasy, I've written science fiction. The books that I've been working on with Will have been in horror. Last year we had a book called Voices, which was nominated for the Bram Stoker Award, and that was a collection of horror. And the books, the novels that we've been doing have been in the category of supernatural thriller, or possibly characterized as urban fantasy. These are contemporary fantasy novels set in the real world, but with fantastic elements added.
Now, have you always, I guess what I should ask is, what genre have you always been a fan of? Growing up, did you read? Did you?
I did read growing up.
Like a certain type of book?
You know, I've been thinking about this, and I think what got me was Twilight Zone and The Outer Limits, you know, because they always blended. They blended the fantasy and science fiction and horror.
Sure.
And so when I started writing, I was thinking about those television shows, so much so that when we worked on our anthology, or we worked on our collections, Voices and Visions, each one of those books starts off with a voice speaking to the reader in the second person, kind of the way Rod Serling did in The Twilight Zone, or the control voice did in Outer Limits.
The cover of Visions even has a television right on the front. It's
Little reminiscent.
much, yeah.
Sure.
So it starts off, which one is it? Voices or Visions starts off, you are not reading these words. This page is a manifestation. So kind of using or channeling that voice from my childhood. Now, I didn't realize I was doing that. This was later when people were asking me about you know, sources of inspiration, that I gradually began to realize that that was it.
And of course, Larry has this incredible speaking voice, and I have heard him read these out loud at various events because he's a Pittsburgh writer. And anytime then that you read something by Lawrence Connoly after you have met him, it is his voice.
Hearing it in his voice as you're reading it?
Absolutely.
Have you had the opportunity to do any audiobooks from your writings?
I have some audio on my website. There is a CD that Will and I did together of music that I composed based on the vein cycle, and that book, or that CD, also contains some stories put to music. And then Will and I were just in New York. I just did the KGB reading series in New York and had an opportunity to perform the stories there. So any opportunity I get to either record them or perform them, I'm there.
And other people have actually performed his work as well. He's had short films made out of short stories, and we have viewed them here at Seton Hill, which has been awesome.
Sure. Who have you worked with the short films?
I have, with the short films, I've worked with a director named Rodney Altman. He's in LA right now, and currently I'm working on a young film, working with a young filmmaker in New York. His name is Nicholas Schwartz. He's terrific. But over the years, I've also had films optioned by the major studios. And the word is, I mean, writers will tell you this, that maybe the best case scenario is to have a story or a novel optioned and it's never produced, because you get the money, you get the ego boost, but you never get disappointed. Well, I've never been disappointed.
I would really like to see what HBO might do with the vein cycle
yeah.
miniseries. That would be lots of fun.
Yeah, especially with so much of that particular genre that has been out there recently, and I can see where it really fit in with Fantasist Enterprises, because Will has always done this interesting blend of a darker fiction, especially with fantasy and so forth. So
Will, what brought you to publishing?
Well, I started as a writer, but then I thought, you know what, I want to learn more about the craft. I'm interested in publishing, so why don't I try to start my own company and see what happens. I'll start working with authors, and in that process, I discovered that I really love helping writers tell better stories. Somehow I have a knack for this, so I just kept doing it and kept building it, and I just really love doing that.
Which is why he's also a good mentor in the MFA program.
It's always good to see when publishers interact well with writers. And,
Oh, absolutely. And you find that, especially on a smaller press level, I think you find that exceptionally. They work hand in hand. It's very much the creative partnership.
Definitely. And Larry and I are a really good match as far as level of revision, all that kind of stuff as well.
So Larry, what is coming up next in your...
What's coming up next is the third book in the Vane cycle. It's called Vortex. All these books are set in western Pennsylvania. And Vortex is going to bring the entire cycle to a close. This is not going to be an open-ended series of books. When I first started working on them, I was thinking that these are going to take place in a single 24-hour period. And we're going to have a really clever way to wrap it up when we hit the last couple of chapters. Just wait, man. I'm telling you what I've got for you in Vortex. You'll want to go back and read the first book again.
Wow.
It'll take you right back to it, I hope.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
When do you expect for that to...
I hear that it's coming out. I hear it's coming out this year. Will and I had an opportunity to meet with the artist who is doing the cover and the illustration. All of Will's books are illustrated, which is the greatest thing about it. And I've had the opportunity to work with some terrific illustrators on these books. But Rhonda Libby is going to be illustrating this next book, and it should be out, I would imagine, November.
Yeah, we're shooting for November,
right.
Possibly December, we'll see.
Ah, that's the difference there between the editor and the author. The author's like, well, why not right now?
Let's do it now.
So with a book that's illustrated like the books that you put out, how does that change, or does it change at all for an ebook format?
We just signed a contract on the ebooks, and
working on the ebooks, it does complicate things a little bit. You have to worry about file size and all those kinds of things, but we'll make it work. We still want to have a professional, nice, beautiful product, even an ebook.
Sure. Especially if those illustrations become key to telling your story.
That's right, and they are. That's the nice thing about this, because Will always hooks the illustrator up with me, and the product, I think, represents the story as it should be.
That's great. That gives us something as readers to kind of have in mind while we're experiencing your work.
Right.
Well, I want to thank you guys for being with us. We're getting the wrap it up sign, so we have to go to a promo break, but we'll be back after some brief messages with more authors from Seton Hill